Hey everybody, what's up? Craig from Toy Anxiety here. Welcome back to the channel. I have an announcement to make. After years of putting together a Star Wars The Black Series collection, I am done. They're gone. Sold. Kaput. We broke up. I called Star Wars The Black Series and I said, sorry, it's not you, it's me. But actually, it's 100% you. Now you're going to find out why. Let's go.
This is where the fun begins. This is where the fun begins. This is where the fun begins.
Look, I will admit, I have been the first person to defend, sometimes against my own better judgment, Star Wars The Black Series. It's been one of my all-time favorite lines of toys to collect. I've been a passionate Star Wars fan and collector for a very long time, and for the last almost decade, I've been putting together this Black Series collection. But my frustration with price point, lack of character diversity, no world-building opportunities, failed HasLabs, bad communication from the product team, and an overall bummer of a time being a collector, I decided it was time for me to move on. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to count down my top 5 reasons why. Let's go. Coming in at number 5, pre-order hell. Look, I get the current state of the toy industry is all about the pre-order model. I don't love it, but I'm willing to go along with it. But when you're a Star Wars Black Series collector, it feels like every other week I'm just putting down money to Target, Walmart, Hasbro Pulse, Big Bad Toy Store, somewhere to ensure that I'm going to be able to get my hands on these figures that I want. Then I realize I'm not going to get them for a year, year and a half, 2 years, sometimes earlier, sometimes way later. It's nothing but frustrating. And also, kind of takes the fun out of toy collecting. In fact, I'm a toy hunter. I like going to the store, picking up an action figure, going to the register, doing the little beepy beep thing, and getting my toy. It's not just Hasbro, it's not just Black Series. This applies to Vintage Collection, Marvel Legends, Mattel, everything. When you have a price point of $25 to $30 and you're being asked to commit over $100, sometimes upward $150 or $200 to a complete wave of figures, and the anxiety that comes along with that is actually leaving me very empty inside as a collector. I do not look forward to Bring Home the Bounty Tuesday and Mandalorian Monday and all these fun names that they come up with to trick me basically into spending all this money on toys that I'm not going to get for several years. I don't like it. Makes me feel kind of dirty, and it kind of makes me feel like there's got to be a better way. So the pre-order hell, I'll do it for Super 7. There's other toy lines I like that I'm willing to do the pre-orders for, but it's just too much these days. And as a Star Wars fan, there's so much other cool shit that I could be getting into. 90s Star Wars, Power of the Force, Vintage Star Wars, the old Legacy Collection, the old Trilogy Collection, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and so on and so on. Not like I could buy a Rise of Skywalker figure if I even wanted to. I don't, but I can't. I guess I could have, but I didn't. Does that make sense? My number 4 reason for quitting Star Wars The Black Series, failed HasLabs. Look, I'm a big fan of the HasLab crowdfunding projects. I've backed a lot of them. I got the Sail Barge, I got the Razor Crest, I got Galactus, I just got Eternia. It's fun. Does it kind of go against the whole pre-order thing I was talking about earlier? A little bit, but hey, don't call me a hypocrite. It's a little bit different when you're talking about a big, huge play set or a big, giant action figure like a Sentinel where you're putting down a couple $100s for some kind of one-of-a-kind item that you're realistically not going to find in retail in 2022. Having said that, last year, I was really excited about the Star Wars Black Series Rancor HasLab project. I mean, the thought of getting a large-scale, huge beast like the Rancor, 17, 18 inches tall, 25 paint applications, tons of articulation, everything a Black Series collector could want, I was excited. But the way they rolled it out, people were hyped about it and lost their interest by the time they launched the campaign. Really weird tiers. I mean, we remember the Bag of Bones, the re-released Luke Skywalker. They tried to give us the Rancor Keeper, but it was too little too late. There was like an early bird thing. All I know, it was a complete kerfuffle. A clusterfuck. We got the Razor Crest. It was a huge success. Nothing but excitement and hype. We had the Barge. I'm sure we'll get future playsets and vehicles with the Vintage Collection. But as a Black Series collector, I was saying, well, I want world building opportunities, and if a HasLab's the only way to get them, sure, let's go ahead and fund the project, but it just wasn't good. In fact, it was kind of bad. Then a couple months later, they roll out the Riva lightsaber. Now, you could say, even though it's considered Black Series, it's a roleplay item and not really part of what I collect. And sure, that's a fair argument. But again, a piss poor job at rolling out this HasLab. There's been so much success with HasLabs. Look at the Galactus, look at the Sentinel, look at the Proton Pack. They got 20,000 people to buy a Proton Pack for $400 with no wand. Incredible marketing, incredible excitement and hype from the teams. I think we all knew it was dead on arrival. I was in the room at Star Wars Celebration when they announced it. Crickets. For clarification, I liked Riva, but I'm not going to spend $500 sight unseen on some big plastic lights. Look, I paid less than $200 for this Count Dooku lightsaber. I got it at Galaxy's Edge. You know what? It's made of metal, it's high quality, it's beautiful, and it's somewhat affordable. Even if I was a lightsaber collector and aficionado, I'd be hard-pressed to spend $500 on that thing. I want to be able to get a big ticket item for the Black Series because I'm a passionate collector. Well, I was, but a second failed HasLab, overall, it's a bummer. Okay, so the failed HasLabs directly lead me to the next part of the countdown. Number 3, no world building in Black Series. A big part about being a Star Wars toy and action figure collector is the world building opportunities. We're talking vehicles, playsets, dioramas. It's not enough to just have the characters you love. You want them in environments that are familiar. You want that cantina. You want the Millennium Falcon. You want X-Wings. You want TIE fighters. You want it all. 6-inch action figures, you can be kind of limited in what you can do in the vehicle and world building and playset space. 300 Black Series figures on a shelf? It all looks the same. We all know Star Wars has a lack of color and dynamic brightness. It's a lot of browns, a lot of grays, a lot of tan and khaki. Look, I like my tan and khaki, but I like toys and action figures, and they don't have the charm of the vintage Star Wars figures, so you're left with this muddled looking collection. And don't get me started on how much these figures fall over. I've never been excited or happy with my display. They would fall over all the time, and I kept thinking to myself, man, my 3 3/4 figures are displayed so well. I've got little diorama pieces, I've got vehicles, I've got play sets, and you can create these scenes because Star Wars is about using your imagination. So with the competing lines in Star Wars The Vintage Collection and this entire 40-year history of existing action figures that I could be collecting, I thought, you know what? I want world building, I want vehicles, I want play sets. It's never going to happen in 6-inch. It might be time to move on. Okay, my number 2 reason why I am breaking up with Star Wars The Black Series. The false hype over the repacks, repaints, and weird sublines. I understand that making toys is a very expensive proposition, and they need to repaint, they need to repack, they need to re-release. Fine, I get it, sure. There's a lot of economical factors that I'm not privy to. We'll take your word for it. What is with Carbonized Collection? What is with the Credit Collection? What are these figures? I have never met a Star Wars collector who's excited about these repaints. How many times can you give me a repainted Mandalorian in a different color scheme and trick me into spending $25 or $30 on it? So many times, because I kept buying them because I had that completist attitude. I had to get away from it. I had to take a step back and say, do I need to spend $30 on this just because they say it's great and because it's a GameStop exclusive, a new paint job that I didn't have? I already have 12 other Mandalorian figures. It finally dawned on me, I don't need to buy it. I don't care about the Credit Collection. I don't care about the Carbonized Collection. Look what they did this week. Return of the Jedi retro carded packaging. 2 new figures, the TIE Fighter pilot as well as the Royal Guard. $70 for a 2-pack. And there's people worried about not being able to pre-order it. I think they're brainwashed or something because I was there. I feel like somebody who just escaped Scientology. You already have 10 TIE Fighter pilot figures and 5 Royal Guards. You don't have to do it. I don't care how shiny the paint job is. Guess what? It ain't that shiny. It ain't that fucking shiny. I've seen it. I have them. They ain't that shiny. That's all I'm saying. So what is with the hype? You watch these Fan First Fridays, you see the marketing team talk about these things, and they say, we know you're excited about it. That's right. The credit collection is back. Who is excited? I feel like they're playing a trick on me. There's always going to be re-releases. Sure. They're going to put out Boba Fett as many times as possible. Sure. But I'm having to pick and choose. What brings me happiness? What brings me joy? If you're going to try to get me excited for a big running promotion like the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, and convince me with your marketing that I need to buy them, and then have me stressed out when I don't get the pre-order, and then I'm losing sleep, and then I'm trying to get the pre-order, and then I'm refreshing the Target app, and then I'm on Hasbro Pulse, and then I'm a premium member, and then I'm not a premium member. It's too much. Okay, my number one reason we have to talk about the price. Black Series figures used to be $19.99. Maybe an exclusive would be $22 or $23. Over time, this is going up and up and up, and the character selection is going down and down and down, and then Obi-Wan comes out, there's no Obi-Wan figures, and then I'm pre-ordering them, and I'm spending $25 a figure, and I'm going, wait a minute, did these used to be $25? It doesn't matter, just order it. It's Star Wars, you need it. You need this. You need this. You don't need this. That's what I learned. I don't need it. Look at Andor. It's a beautiful show. Well written, well directed, beautiful cinematography. The acting is top notch. I went to the store to buy some Andor Black Series figures. Guess what? You can't do it. They're not there. You gotta pre-order. You gotta wait. What happened to the days where I could just go to the store and get hyped about the thing and buy all the characters before the movie came out? But I digress. Let's get back to the price point. We're now at the point where $25, $30 is the average. And we just talked about that Carbonized Collection 2-pack. $35 a figure, plus tax, plus shipping. Is this where we are? Am I spending $90 for 2 action figures I don't want or need? That's where I was, and that's why I had to quit. It's like when you quit smoking, or you quit drinking, or you quit calling your ex-girlfriend. I'm not going to support this line anymore. Why? Because all of this has been building towards my final point. Collecting Star Wars The Black Series actually became bad for my mental health. On days where I couldn't get my pre-orders, I was angry. I was short-tempered. You wouldn't want to be around me. Hell, I didn't want to be around me. They wouldn't announce anything I wanted. Maybe 1 or 2 new characters, 4 or 5 repacks, and then the pipeline reveals. Sometime down the road, later on, we'll tell you when it's going to be. 3 years from now, you might get a character you want. But the problem is I see where this is going. The writing's on the wall. If you don't think they're going to start asking for pre-orders for pipeline figures at some point, it's going to happen. It used to be they would show you the action figure and it would be in the store and you'd go buy it. Then it was pre-order it. Then it's a render of the action figure and you pre-order it. Pretty soon it's going to be a picture of an action figure and then you pre-order it. At some point they're going to say, we're not going to tell you what you're going to get, but we just like when you pre-order it. Just go to the website, give us your money, we'll send you something at some point. Am I exaggerating? Maybe a little. Am I frustrated? Not anymore. Why? Because I'm free. Don't collect things that don't bring you happiness. Don't be a completist for the sake of being a completist. Are you willing to put down $25 or $30 on an action figure and then be grumpy about it for the rest of the day? I'm not. Toy collecting should bring you joy and happiness, not insanity. So, what are the lessons we learned today? 1, I broke up with Star Wars The Black Series, and I feel pretty damn good about it. 2, money is really hard to come by sometimes, and sometimes you gotta make a decision on whether or not you want to invest that money. 3, and I didn't talk about this, if you ever sell your Black Series collection, you're gonna lose your ass off on it. You know why? Because this shit ain't worth anything. Not that you should be collecting for profit, but you're losing money. It's like a used car. The second you open that Black Series figure, bye, it's lost its value. Sure, some of them have increased over time, but as a big lot and big collection, one fell swoop, prepare to lose your money. You might lose some money, but you might regain some of your self-respect, and that's what this is all about. Okay, Black Series, done. Moving on, exploring other Star Wars collecting opportunities, rounding out my vintage Star Wars collection, leaning more into play sets, world building, and things that bring me joy and happiness. Okay, my name's Craig. Subscribe to the channel. We love our Toy Anxiety family. We love you guys. We hope you come back for our live show every week. Bye.
This is where the fun begins. This is where the fun begins. This is where the fun. This is where the fun. This is where the fun begins.
Who's the big guy with the muscles?
fun begins.
Who's the big guy with the muscles?